What are the primary causes of aggression in animals, and how can a professional animal behavior consultant identify and address them? Answer: aggression in animals can stem from a variety of causes, which can broadly be categorized into genetic predispositions, lack of socialization, health issues, and environmental triggers. Genetic predispositions refer to the innate tendencies of certain breeds or individuals to display aggressive behaviors. For instance, some breeds of dogs are more prone to territorial aggression or resource guarding due to evolutionary traits that have been selected for over generations. Lack of socialization is another key factor. Animals that are not exposed to a variety of environments, people, or other animals during their developmental stages may have heightened fear responses, leading to aggressive behaviors as a defense mechanism. Health issues can lead to aggression, particularly when an animal is in pain or discomfort. For example, animals suffering from conditions like arthritis or dental pain may display aggression when touched in certain areas of their body. Environmental triggers can also induce aggression. A stressful environment, such as living in a crowded or chaotic setting, can lead to territorial aggression or fear-based aggression. Aggression management. To address aggression, animal behavior consultants should identify triggers. This involves observing the context in which aggression occurs, e.g., during food consumption near unfamiliar animals, etc., and using a functional analysis to determine antecedents, behaviors, and consequences. ABC model. Behavior modification. Techniques like desensitization, gradually exposing the animal to the triggering stimulus, and counter conditioning, pairing the trigger with positive outcomes, can be used to reduce aggressive behavior. Positive reinforcement, rewarding calm behavior and gradually building the animal's tolerance to previously stressful situations. Relevant guidelines. The American Veterinary Society of Animal Behavior (AVSAB) emphasizes that aggression is often a result of fear and should be treated with a focus on positive reinforcement and not punitive methods. Mr. Thompson is an animal behavior consultant working with a client whose dog, Max, has started exhibiting severe territorial aggression. Max is particularly aggressive towards guests entering the house and other animals. What should Mr. Thompson's approach be to assess and manage Max's behavior? Answer: Mr. Thompson should follow a systematic assessment and management plan to address Max's territorial aggression. The steps include initial assessment. Mr. Thompson should gather information from the client about Max's behavior patterns, timing, triggers, intensity of aggression, and medical history to rule out any underlying health issues. He should conduct an environmental assessment to determine if the home setup contributes to Max's behavior, such as lack of space or an abundance of potential triggers. Trigger identification. By observing Max in different scenarios, e.g., with guests, during walks and interactions with other animals, Mr. Thompson can identify specific environmental or social triggers that cause Max to react aggressively. Behavior modification plan, desensitization. Gradually introduce guests and other animals in a controlled manner, starting from a distance and gradually decreasing the distance as Max shows signs of comfort. This helps Max build tolerance to the presence of guests and other animals. Counter conditioning. Each time Max is exposed to a guest or another animal, he can be rewarded for calm behavior, reinforcing positive associations with these stimuli, redirecting attention. Instead of focusing on the guests, Max can be trained to focus on his handler for rewards, which provides an alternative, non-aggressive behavior. Consistency. Max's owner must follow a consistent routine for desensitization and reinforcement, ensuring that all family members use the same commands and reinforcement techniques. How can behavioral enrichment strategies improve the mental well-being of domesticated animals, and why is it essential for animal consultants to incorporate this into their practices? Answer: behavioral enrichment is critical for improving the mental well-being of animals, as it addresses the animal's need for mental stimulation, physical activity, and social interaction. The goal of enrichment is to prevent boredom, stress, and behavioral issues such as destructive chewing or self-harm, which can occur in animals that lack proper stimulation. Types of enrichment. Environmental enrichment. This includes changing the physical environment to allow more natural behaviors. For example, providing the dog with a variety of toys, climbing structures for cats, or creating a complex aquarium habitat for fish. Sensory enrichment. Animals require sensory stimulation from their environment to stay mentally active. For example, exposing animals to different sounds, smells, and visual stimuli can help engage their senses and improve their mental health. Feeding enrichment. Using puzzle feeders, hiding food, or varying feeding times can encourage natural foraging behaviors, which provides both mental and physical stimulation. Social enrichment. Interacting with other animals or humans can reduce stress and improve well-being. Group play, training, and bonding activities to help keep the animal engaged. Why it's important for consultants. Animal consultants must assess the animal's needs and tailor enrichment activities to match the species-specific and individual needs of the animal. An animal that is deprived of stimulation may develop stereotypical behaviors like pacing or excessive grooming, which are indicators of poor welfare. Relevant guidelines. The World Animal Protection emphasizes that behavioral enrichment is essential to maintaining both mental and physical health in animals, particularly those in captivity. These practices align with the principles of positive animal welfare, ensuring animals are given opportunities to express natural behaviors. What are some common indicators of poor welfare in animals, and how can these be addressed in behavioral consultations? Answer: poor welfare in animals can manifest through various abnormal behaviors and signs of distress. Common indicators include stereotypical behaviors. Repetitive, purposeless actions such as pacing, rocking, or overgrooming often indicate stress or boredom. These behaviors are typically seen in animals that lack sufficient environmental complexity or mental stimulation. Aggression, unprovoked aggression, or sudden behavioral changes may be a sign of poor welfare. Aggression can result from fear, territorial stress, or discomfort due to health issues. Self-harm. This includes excessive licking, biting, or other forms of mutilation which may be caused by stress, anxiety, or physical pain. Normal grooming. Overgrooming or neglect of grooming behaviors can indicate distress or health problems such as parasites or skin conditions. Addressing poor welfare. Behavioral consultants should evaluate the animal's environment and behavior comprehensively, considering physical, social, and environmental factors. By providing appropriate enrichment, behavior modification, and ensuring the health of the animal, consultants can help improve welfare. Health assessment. Medical problems must be ruled out first. For example, pain from an injury or illness may cause aggression or self-harm. Behavioral interventions. Implement strategies like desensitization, counter-conditioning, and providing a more enriched environment to reduce distress and prevent further welfare deterioration. Relevant guidelines. The Animal Welfare Act requires that animals in care environments must have access to enrichment and appropriate conditions to ensure their well-being. Sarah is an animal behavior consultant working with a dog named Daisy who has developed severe separation anxiety. Daisy barks excessively and engages in destructive behavior when left alone. What steps should Sarah take to address Daisy's separation anxiety, and what are some key considerations for her behavior modification plan? Answer: address Daisy's separation anxiety. Sarah should implement a gradual desensitization plan along with counter-conditioning techniques. Initial assessment. Sarah should first assess Daisy's behavior in various contexts and rule out any medical issues. Understanding Daisy's anxiety triggers and severity of the behavior is critical for developing an effective plan. Behavior modification, desensitization. Sarah should start by leaving Daisy alone for very short periods and gradually increase the time she is left alone, rewarding calm behavior during these periods. This helps Daisy become accustomed to being alone without feeling distressed. Counter-conditioning. Sarah can pair Daisy's alone time with positive experiences, such as providing her with a special treat or toy that only appears when Sarah leaves. This creates a positive association with being alone. Environmental considerations. Create a safe space. Setting up a designated area where Daisy feels secure can reduce anxiety. For example, using a crate or a comfortable room with soft bedding can provide a calming environment. Consistency and patience. The key is to be consistent and patient, as separation anxiety can take time to resolve. Sarah should advise Daisy's owner to implement the same routines to help Daisy feel secure in her environment. Relevant guidelines. The American Veterinary Society of Animal Behavior (AVSAB) recommends positive reinforcement techniques and desensitization to treat separation anxiety, as punishment-based methods can worsen the condition. What are the key differences between fear-based aggression and dominance aggression in animals, and how should an animal behavior consultant approach managing each type? Answer: fear-based aggression and dominance aggression are two common types of aggression in animals, and while they may appear similar at first, their causes and management strategies differ significantly. Fear-based aggression cause. Fear-based aggression occurs when an animal perceives a threat and reacts defensively. This type of aggression is often a result of past trauma, lack of socialization, or unfamiliar situations. The animal's fight-or-flight response triggers the aggressive behavior as a form of self-protection. Behavioral signs. The animal may cower, growl, snap, or bite when approached or confronted with a stressful stimulus. These animals often display signs of anxiety, such as trembling, excessive barking, or trying to retreat. Management approach. The key to managing fear-based aggression is to reduce the animal's fear through desensitization and counter-conditioning. Gradually exposing the animal to the feared stimulus at a manageable level and rewarding calm behavior can help the animal associate the stimulus with positive experiences. Dominance aggression cause. Dominance aggression arises when an animal perceives itself as in control of a situation and seeks to assert authority over others. This can happen in multi-pet households where competition for resources like food, space, or attention occurs. Behavioral signs. This type of aggression is often triggered by challenges to the animal's perceived position in the social hierarchy, such as competition for food or space. Signs include growling, snapping, and sometimes attacking when the animal feels its status is threatened. Management approach. Dominance aggression requires clear leadership and consistency in training. The consultant should help the animal's owner establish themselves as a calm, assertive leader through obedience training, setting boundaries, and ensuring that the animal learns appropriate social cues. Resource control, e.g., managing food, toys, and space is also an important component of addressing dominance aggression. Mr. Wilson owns a cat named Luna who has begun to exhibit severe litter box avoidance, despite being previously consistent with her litter box habits. Mr. Wilson has noticed that Luna seems stressed after his wife's recent hospitalization. What steps should Mr. Wilson take to address Luna's litter box avoidance, and how might behavioral and environmental factors contribute to this behavior? Answer: Mr. Wilson should take a multifaceted approach to assess and address Luna's litter box avoidance. The situation suggests that Luna may be experiencing stress, which can manifest as changes in litter box behavior. Here are the key steps Mr. Wilson should take. Health assessment. Rule out medical issues. Before jumping to behavioral solutions, Mr. Wilson should consult with a veterinarian to rule out any medical problems such as urinary tract infections, UTIs, bladder stones, or other health issues that could be causing discomfort and leading to avoidance of the litter box. Stress management. Identify stress triggers. Given that Luna's behavior changed after Mr. Wilson's wife's hospitalization, the stress from this change in the household environment could be contributing to the avoidance behavior. Luna may feel anxious due to the absence of her usual routine, the emotional upheaval, or changes in household dynamics. Minimize stress. Mr. Wilson can try to reduce Luna's stress by providing a quiet space where she can retreat and feel safe. Feliway diffusers, a synthetic pheromone product, can also help calm cats and reduce anxiety. Behavioral modification. Reinforce appropriate litter box use. Mr. Wilson should ensure that Luna's litter box is kept clean, is in a quiet location, and is easily accessible. Cats often avoid litter boxes if they are dirty or placed in a noisy area. Using a litter box with a different texture or scent might also be beneficial. Positive reinforcement. Whenever Luna uses the litter box correctly, Mr. Wilson should reward her with positive reinforcement, such as treats or affection, to reinforce the desired behavior. Environmental considerations. Multiple litter boxes. If there are multiple cats in the household, or if Luna feels her territory is being encroached upon, providing additional litter boxes in various locations may reduce territorial stress and provide more opportunities for successful litter box use. Relevant guidelines. The International Cat Care emphasizes the importance of providing a clean, quiet, and accessible litter box, especially for stressed or elderly cats. What role does early training and socialization play in the prevention of behavioral problems in pets, and why is it critical for animal behavior consultants to emphasize these practices? Answer: early training and socialization are foundational elements in preventing a wide range of behavioral problems in pets. These practices help shape an animal's reactions to new experiences, stimuli, and other animals, reducing the likelihood of problematic behaviors in the future. Socialization. Socialization involves exposing an animal to a variety of people, animals, environments, sounds, and experiences in a controlled manner during their developmental period, typically the first 16 weeks for puppies and kittens. Proper socialization helps prevent fear-based aggression, anxiety, and phobias. Animals that are not socialized early may develop fearful or aggressive responses to unfamiliar stimuli later in life. Benefits: animals that are well socialized are generally more adaptable, confident, and comfortable in different environments and with different people and animals. Early training. Early training helps animals understand basic commands such as sit, stay, leave it, and come, which provide structure and boundaries for appropriate behavior. This training also fosters a bond of trust between the animal and its owner, which is critical for addressing future behavioral issues. Prevention of problem behaviors. By teaching a dog to respond to commands early on, consultants can help prevent behaviors like excessive barking, destructive chewing, and leash pulling. Similarly, early training for cats can prevent litter box issues and encourage positive interactions with humans. Importance for animal consultants. For animal behavior consultants, emphasizing early training and socialization allows them to prevent future behavioral problems by shaping positive habits and coping mechanisms early in the animal's life. It is much easier to prevent undesirable behaviors through early intervention than to modify them once they have become ingrained. What is the relationship between mental health and behavioral problems in animals, and how can behavioral consultants address mental health concerns in their clients' pets? Answer: mental health plays a significant role in the behavior of animals. Just as in humans, an animal's emotional and psychological state can greatly affect how they behave. Animals suffering from anxiety, depression, or other mental health conditions may display undesirable behaviors, including aggression, self-harm, and avoidance behaviors. Types of mental health issues. Anxiety. Animals, particularly dogs and cats, can experience anxiety, which may manifest as excessive barking, destructive behavior, or inappropriate urination. Anxiety can stem from factors such as separation, noise, phobias, or changes in the environment. Depression. Animals can also experience depression, particularly after the loss of a companion, major changes in routine, or other traumatic experiences. Symptoms include lack of appetite, decreased activity, and withdrawal from social interaction. Behavioral impacts. Mental health issues like anxiety and depression can lead to problem behaviors such as destructive chewing, excessive grooming, or compulsive behaviors like pacing. Animals with mental health concerns may also have difficulty learning new behaviors or may react aggressively out of fear or frustration. Addressing mental health. Behavioral consultants should conduct a thorough behavioral assessment to identify the root cause of the behavior and whether mental health issues are contributing factors. Environmental enrichment, positive reinforcement training, and consistent routines are essential to helping animals with mental health concerns. In some cases, medication prescribed by a veterinarian may be necessary to help manage anxiety or depression. Relevant guidelines. According to the American Veterinary Society of Animal Behavior, AVSAB, anxiety and depression in pets should be treated with a combination of behavioral modification techniques and, when appropriate, medical intervention. The American Animal Hospital Association also advocates for the integration of mental health support into behavior modification programs for animals. What are the potential consequences of failing to implement appropriate behavior management strategies for aggression, and how can these consequences impact the pet, the owner, and others in the environment? Answer: failing to implement appropriate behavior management strategies for aggression can have serious consequences for the pet, the owner, and others in the environment. The key outcomes of not addressing aggression properly include: for the pet, increased stress and anxiety. An animal that is not properly managed for aggressive behaviors may become more fearful, anxious, and frustrated. This can lead to a worsening of the aggression or the development of additional behavioral issues. Decreased welfare. Continued aggressive behavior without intervention can lead to poor welfare, as the animal may feel increasingly out of control or isolated from its environment. Possibly worsening aggression. Without the right intervention, the animal may feel the need to escalate its aggressive responses, resulting in more serious attacks or injuries. For the owner, increased risk of injury. Owners may be at risk of injury due to the aggressive behavior of their pet. Dogs and cats with unresolved aggression issues may bite or attack family members, visitors, or even other pets in the household. Strained relationship. The relationship between the pet and its owner can suffer if the aggression is not addressed. The owner may become frustrated, fearful, or overwhelmed by the pet's behavior, leading to a breakdown in trust and communication, rehoming or euthanasia. In severe cases, owners may feel that they have no other option but to surrender the animal, or in tragic cases, have the animal euthanized. For others in the environment, safety risks. Aggressive animals pose a safety risk to visitors, neighbors, or other animals in the environment. Uncontrolled aggression can lead to bites, injuries, and damage to property. Legal consequences. In some regions, aggressive pets may be subject to local ordinances or legal actions, particularly if they cause injury or harm to others. Owners may be liable for damages or face fines for failing to control their animal's aggression. How does animal-assisted therapy influence human behavior? Answer: animal-assisted therapy has been shown to significantly influence human behavior by promoting emotional and psychological well-being. This therapy leverages the bond between humans and animals, which has been scientifically linked to improvements in mood, stress reduction, and social interaction. For example, individuals who interact with therapy animals often experience reduced anxiety and depression levels. Additionally, studies suggest that service animals can increase the independence and confidence of individuals with disabilities, such as those with autism or PTSD. Legally, animal-assisted therapy must adhere to specific regulations. In the US, the Americans with Disabilities Act (ADA) provides guidance on the use of service animals, which are defined as dogs trained to perform tasks for individuals with disabilities. However, AAT is distinct from service animal programs in that the former is usually part of therapeutic treatment plans rather than assistance in day-to-day activities. Understanding the emotional bond between humans and animals is essential for animal behavior consultants, as it can inform interventions aimed at improving human emotional states or facilitating behavioral changes through animals. What ethical considerations must be taken into account when providing animal behavior consultations in a multi-animal household? Answer: in a multi-animal household, the ethical considerations for behavior consultants are particularly complex, as the behavior of one animal can affect the others, and interventions must account for the dynamics of the entire household. Ethical guidelines include respect for each animal's individuality. Behavior consultants must recognize the individual needs and behaviors of each animal, ensuring that interventions are not biased toward any single animal and that all animals are treated with respect. Minimizing harm. Any behavior modification techniques used should prioritize the welfare of all animals involved. Punitive measures or coercive tactics are not ethical and should be avoided, as they can cause emotional and physical harm. Collaboration with owners. Consultants must educate pet owners on their role in the process and ensure that interventions are sustainable. Recommendations should always aim for long-term success, considering the impact of changes on the household as a whole. Additionally, professionals must comply with local animal welfare laws, such as the Animal Welfare Act in the US, which governs the humane treatment of animals in various environments, including homes. Mr. Davidson has adopted a rescue dog named Max, who has exhibited severe separation anxiety whenever Mr. Davidson leaves the house. Max engages in destructive behavior such as chewing furniture and howling. What should Mr. Davidson do to help alleviate Max's anxiety, and how should an animal behavior consultant approach this issue? Answer: in this scenario, Mr. Davidson should first seek an assessment from a certified animal behavior consultant to ensure that Max's behavior is due to separation anxiety and not another underlying issue, e.g., medical conditions or insufficient exercise. The consultant would likely employ a comprehensive behavioral evaluation, including an assessment of Max's living environment, routine, and the relationship dynamics with Mr. Davidson. A common strategy to address separation anxiety includes desensitization and counter-conditioning, where Max is gradually exposed to being alone for short periods with positive reinforcement for calm behavior. The process involves slowly increasing the duration of separations to build Max's tolerance. Associating Mr. Davidson's departure with positive experiences such as treats or toys, avoiding punishment as it could increase anxiety or fearful behavior. Additionally, Mr. Davidson might consider using crate training or providing Max with a safe space that mimics security. The consultant will also discuss the importance of maintaining a consistent routine and the potential benefits of consulting a veterinarian if medication is deemed necessary. Legally, the consultant must adhere to the Animal Welfare Act by ensuring that the behavior modification techniques used do not harm Max physically or emotionally. The consultant must also be mindful of ethical considerations, ensuring that all interventions respect the animal's dignity and well-being. What are the primary components of the Animal Welfare Act that animal behavior consultants must be aware of? Answer: the Animal Welfare Act, enforced by the U.S. Department of Agriculture (EDA), sets standards for the care and treatment of animals, particularly those used in research, exhibition, transport, and as pets. For animal behavior consultants, it's essential to understand the following key components. Standards for animal care. The AWA requires that animals are provided with adequate housing, food, water, and veterinary care. Consultants must ensure that their behavior modification strategies do not conflict with these standards, especially when working in environments like kennels or shelters. Humane treatment of animals. Behavior modification techniques must always aim to minimize stress and discomfort for the animal. Techniques that involve pain or fear are prohibited. Licensing and inspection. Facilities where animals are housed for commercial purposes must be licensed and regularly inspected. Behavior consultants working in these environments must ensure that the facilities comply with AWA standards. Public education. The AWA mandates the provision of public education on proper animal care. What are the ongoing certification requirements for animal behavior consultants, and why is continued professional development important? Answer: ongoing certification is crucial for maintaining professional standards and ensuring that animal behavior consultants remain up to date with the latest research, ethical guidelines, and best practices. Continued professional development (CPD) typically includes completion of continuing education (C) credits. Consultants must participate in relevant educational activities such as workshops, conferences, or online courses to accumulate CE credits. Recertification: animal behavior consultants must renew their certifications periodically by demonstrating a commitment to professional development and knowledge updates. Engagement with professional networks: networking with peers through professional organizations such as the International Association of Animal Behavior Consultants (IAOC) helps consultants stay informed of new techniques and trends. The importance of continued professional development lies in ensuring that consultants are aware of evolving research, animal welfare laws, and advancements in behavior modification techniques. This helps maintain high standards of care and ethical practice, benefiting both animals and their owners. How can animal behavior consultants contribute to educating the public on responsible pet ownership? Answer: animal behavior consultants can play a vital role in public education by providing seminars and workshops on common pet behavior issues such as barking aggression or separation anxiety. These sessions can equip pet owners with knowledge on preventing and addressing undesirable behaviors, writing educational materials such as articles, blogs, and books that explain animal behavior science and provide guidance on training techniques. Collaborating with veterinarians to promote the importance of regular veterinary care and its impact on behavior. Using social media platforms to share tips and insights into animal behavior, making education more accessible to a wider audience. By actively engaging in public education, consultants can help raise awareness about animal welfare, encourage responsible pet ownership, and prevent behavioral issues before they escalate. Why is networking important for animal behavior consultants, and how can it benefit their practice? Answer: networking is an essential part of professional growth for animal behavior consultants. By connecting with peers, veterinarians, and trainers, consultants can stay informed about the latest trends, research, and methodologies in animal behavior science, collaborate with other professionals, including veterinarians, to offer comprehensive care for clients who may require both medical and behavioral interventions, access job opportunities and referrals as many clients seek recommendations from trusted professionals in the industry, enhance credibility by being associated with reputable organizations like the International Association of Animal Behavior Consultants (IAOC), and attending industry conferences. Networking helps build a strong professional community that supports mutual growth and improves service delivery for animal behavior consultants. What are the key resources and strategies an animal behavior consultant can use to stay updated with current research and trends? Answer: to stay updated with the latest research and trends in animal behavior, consultants should subscribe to academic journals in animal behavior science, such as the Journal of Applied Animal Welfare Science, which provides peer-reviewed research on behavioral studies and interventions. Attend conferences and workshops hosted by professional organizations like the American Veterinary Society of Animal Behavior (AVSAB) or IAABC to gain insights into the latest trends and methodologies. Participate in webinars and online forums that offer discussions on emerging topics, including new techniques and ethical considerations in animal behavior. Engage in continuing education programs, which are often required for certification renewal and offer up-to-date information on best practices in the field. Staying current with new research ensures that consultants continue to offer evidence-based practices, maintain ethical standards, and provide the highest quality of care for animals. Sarah is an animal behavior consultant who has been hired by a family to help with their dog's aggressive behavior toward visitors. The dog, Oscar, exhibits growls, lunges, and barks at guests. The family has attempted to manage the behavior through aversive training methods, such as shock collars, but these have not been effective and seem to have worsened Oscar's anxiety. What steps should Sarah take to address this situation, and how should she approach the family to educate them on appropriate training methods? Answer: Sarah should first assess the situation by observing Oscar's behavior and understanding the triggers for his aggression. Given that aversive training methods like shock collars have exacerbated his anxiety, Sarah should immediately discontinue these methods and educate the family on more effective and humane approaches. The steps Sarah might take include desensitization and counter-conditioning. Gradually expose Oscar to controlled situations with visitors, rewarding calm behavior to change his response over time. Positive reinforcement. Reinforce desired behaviors such as calmness and proper greetings with treats and praise. Consulting with a veterinarian. If Oscar's aggression is rooted in medical issues such as pain or fear, a veterinarian should be consulted to rule out any underlying conditions. Educating the family. Sarah should educate the family on the detrimental effects of aversive techniques and explain the benefits of positive reinforcement training. She should emphasize that behavior change requires patience, consistency, and a focus on the animal's emotional well-being. How do international animal welfare laws influence the practice of animal behavior consultants working with pets? Answer: animal welfare laws vary by country, but they generally ensure that animals are treated humanely and have their basic needs met, including appropriate shelter, food, and veterinary care. For animal behavior consultants working with pets, these laws have several implications. Legal obligations to ensure humane treatment. Consultants must ensure that their behavior modification methods comply with national and local animal welfare laws, which often prohibit the use of cruel or harmful techniques. Regulations on animal welfare standards. Consultants working in countries with strict animal welfare regulations, such as those in the European Union, must adhere to guidelines that ensure that the animals in their care are not subjected to unnecessary stress or harm during behavior interventions. International considerations for service animals. If working with service animals in international settings, consultants must be aware of differences in regulations surrounding the use of service animals, including the types of tasks they are trained to perform and the rights of individuals with disabilities. Explain the difference between proximate and ultimate causes of animal behavior. Provide an example of each and discuss how understanding both types of causes is critical for animal behavior consulting. Answer: proximate causes refer to the immediate mechanistic explanations for a behavior, such as physiological or neurological processes that drive an animal's actions. These causes answer the how of behavior, focusing on the internal mechanisms. For example, a dog barking when it hears a doorbell might be a response to the sound being processed by its auditory system, triggering a vocalization through its brain and muscles. Ultimate causes, on the other hand, refer to the evolutionary reasons behind a behavior, answering the why from a survival and reproductive perspective. In the case of the dog barking, the ultimate cause might be related to protecting its territory or alerting its pack to a potential intruder. In animal behavior consulting, understanding both proximate and ultimate causes allows for more holistic interventions. What proximate causes can inform immediate management strategies like training or modification of the environment. Ultimate causes help explain the evolutionary importance of certain behaviors, allowing consultants to better understand and predict long-term behavior patterns and needs. How does natural selection shape animal behavior, and what is a behavioral? Answer: natural selection shapes animal behavior by favoring behaviors that increase an individual's chances of survival and reproduction in its environment. Behaviors that enhance an animal's ability to find food, avoid predators, or reproduce are more likely to be passed on to future generations. These behaviors are considered adaptations because they improve fitness in specific ecological contexts. A classic example is migration patterns in birds. Many species migrate to more favorable climates during harsh seasons, e.g., cold winters. This behavior is a survival adaptation because it enables the birds to access food and avoid the dangers of freezing temperatures. The behavior of migration has evolved over generations due to the fitness advantages it confers. Those birds that migrated successfully were more likely to reproduce, passing on this adaptive behavior. Discuss how animal behavior is integrated into evolutionary theory. What role does behavior play in the process of evolution, and how can this affect the survival of a species? Answer: animal behavior is integral to evolutionary theory because behaviors influence the survival and reproductive success of individuals, which directly affects the gene pool of a population. In Darwinian terms, survival of the fittest involves not just physical traits, but behavioral traits that enhance an organism's ability to thrive in its environment. For example, mate selection is a behavioral trait that can drive evolution. In many species, individuals choose mates based on specific traits, such as physical health, territory, or vocalizations. Over generations, these behaviors can result in the evolution of specific traits that are more desirable for mating, leading to sexual selection. Behavioral patterns such as foraging strategies also play a role. A species that develops a more efficient foraging behavior, e.g., better techniques for finding food or avoiding competition, can increase its survival rates, thus influencing evolutionary outcomes. Differentiate between innate behaviors, fixed action patterns, and learned behaviors in animals. Provide an example of each and explain their evolutionary significance. Answer: innate behaviors are hardwired and genetically programmed, meaning they are not learned but are instead automatic and consistent across individuals of a species. A key feature of innate behaviors is fixed action patterns, FAPs, which are instinctive, stereotyped sequences of actions triggered by specific stimuli. For instance, a goose will instinctively roll an egg back into its nest with a particular head motion even if the egg is removed. This behavior is vital for the survival of offspring. Learned behaviors, in contrast, are acquired through experience or interaction with the environment, often through mechanisms like classical conditioning or operant conditioning. For example, a dog might learn to sit on command through training, a behavior that doesn't occur naturally but is learned from interaction with its owner. Evolutionarily, innate behaviors provide immediate, reliable responses to environmental challenges, while learned behaviors allow animals to adapt to changing environments or new experiences, which is advantageous in dynamic or unpredictable conditions. Mr. Johnson is a pet owner who has a dog that displays aggressive behavior towards other dogs during walks. He has noticed that his dog becomes particularly reactive when passing certain locations, such as near busy streets or dog parks. What steps should Mr. Johnson take to address this issue? Include an explanation of the behavioral principles involved in your answer. Answer: Mr. Johnson should first observe the contexts in which the aggressive behavior occurs, e.g., proximity to other dogs, stressful locations. This will help him identify the triggers for the aggression. The aggressive behavior may be a response to perceived threats or a fear-based reaction, which can be common in dogs that are uncomfortable in certain environments. The next step would be to apply desensitization and counter-conditioning techniques. Desensitization involves gradually exposing the dog to lower levels of the trigger, e.g., starting with the dog at a distance and slowly decreasing that distance as the dog remains calm. Counter-conditioning involves rewarding the dog for calm behavior near these triggers. This will help the dog form positive associations with previously stressful stimuli. It's also important to reinforce positive behavior and prevent punishment-based techniques which can escalate fear or aggression. Mr. Johnson should work with a certified behavior consultant to ensure that the training plan is tailored to his dog's needs, taking into account both proximate causes, e.g., physiological stress, and ultimate causes, evolutionary responses to threats. What is the concept of imprinting as proposed by Konrad Lorenz, and how does it relate to animal behavior? Provide an example of imprinting and discuss its evolutionary significance. Answer: imprinting, as described by Konrad Lorenz, is a form of rapid learning that occurs early in an animal's life, typically during a sensitive period, and results in an animal forming attachments to specific stimuli, often its caregiver. Lorenz's famous study involved ducklings that imprinted on him as their mother because he was the first moving object they encountered after hatching. Imprinting plays an important evolutionary role by ensuring that young animals stay close to their caregivers for protection and care, thereby increasing their chances of survival. For species like geese, this behavior ensures that the young follow their parents to safer environments where they can learn essential survival behaviors. Define a behavioral repertoire in the context of animal behavior. How do behavioral repertoires impact an animal's ability to survive and reproduce? Answer: a behavioral repertoire refers to the complete set of behaviors that an animal can perform, including all actions related to feeding, mating, communication, and interaction with the environment. The richness and flexibility of an animal's behavioral repertoire are critical for its survival and reproduction because they allow it to respond to a variety of environmental challenges. For example, a bird's repertoire might include foraging behaviors, e.g., searching for food, communication behaviors, e.g., songs to attract mates or warn of predators, and mating behaviors, e.g., displaying to attract a mate. A diverse behavioral repertoire ensures that an animal can adapt to changing circumstances, such as shifts in food availability or the presence of predators, thus enhancing its fitness. How does natural selection influence foraging behavior in animals? Discuss the concept of optimal foraging theory and provide an example of an animal whose foraging behavior has been shaped by natural selection. Answer: natural selection shapes foraging behavior by favoring individuals that use the most efficient strategies to obtain food while minimizing energy expenditure and exposure to risk. Optimal foraging theory suggests that animals will forage in a way that maximizes their net energy intake, balancing the benefits of obtaining food with the costs, such as time and risk. An example is the black-capped chickadee, which employs a strategy of scatter hoarding where it stores food in multiple locations to retrieve later. This behavior has evolved because it helps the chickadee survive periods when food is scarce. It minimizes the energy spent searching for food while ensuring that the bird has a reserve during harsh winters. In the context of behavioral ecology, What is a cost-benefit analysis and how does it apply to animal behavior? Provide an example where an animal's behavior is shaped by a cost-benefit trade-off. Answer: a cost-benefit analysis in behavioral ecology refers to the process by which animals assess the costs, e.g., energy expenditure, risk, and benefits, e.g., access to food, reproductive success of performing a certain behavior. This analysis helps animals optimize their behavior for maximum fitness. For example, in predator avoidance, an animal must weigh the risk of predation against the benefit of foraging. A deer might choose to feed in a location where food is plentiful but more exposed to predators. The cost is the higher risk of being hunted, but the benefit is the greater food supply, which may increase the deer's chances of surviving and reproducing. Explain the role of epigenetics in animal behavior. How do gene-environment interactions influence an animal's behavioral traits? Answer: epigenetics refers to changes in gene expression that are influenced by environmental factors without altering the underlying genetic code. In animal behavior, epigenetic modifications can result in changes to how genes related to behavior are expressed, often in response to environmental stimuli or experiences. For example, the behavior of a rat might be altered by early life stress, leading to changes in gene expression related to anxiety and stress responses. These changes can influence behavior for the rest of the animal's life, and in some cases, these epigenetic modifications can be passed down to offspring, influencing their behavior as well. This gene-environment interaction plays a key role in shaping behavioral traits and adaptations in response to environmental conditions.